There's probably nobody who's worked in the field of separation and divorce who doesn't notice that parents have as one of their major challenges grieving the loss of their intimate relationship. If they are going to divorce, they are losing so much. They're losing their best friend. They're losing the dream of growing old together. They're losing their forgiving audience for their jokes. They're losing their guaranteed date for Saturday night. They're losing so many things. It's unbelievable. And one of the things that can contribute to problems is that the parents do not face their grief and work through it. They just remain angry and in bargaining and don't acknowledge the deep wounds that they need to grieve.
Anger sometimes can be a mask for grief, and sometimes we use our anger so that we don't have to face grief because it can be very painful. And this is where a good support system can come in so handy, is that we do need support as we look at our grief and at our pain. And it would be just a shame to have anger be our constant emotion during this process when we do really have to say goodbye.
Right. Take a look at the paper that we have on this. Every one of the stages of grief, from denial to anger, bargaining, anger, and then the depression and acceptance, each one has its place. The problem is when we get stuck in them. And people who are in court, by the way, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, almost always they are stuck in that bargaining and anger, and what they're not facing is the deep wounds. And sometimes the longer that carries on, the worse it gets, and the less people are in touch with just that grieving that they have to do. The losses are huge. Look for that support system. It might mean some counseling, and it might be some friends who say, you know, Joe or Janet, I've heard all this, but you know what, do you think some of this might be hurt?
I think, yeah, and I think the point that Charlie makes a great point when he uses the word longer, because when you stay in that anger and in that mad kind of stance, you never finish.
Right.
You don't finish, and you don't say goodbye, and you don't move on, and you make the world a little bit more bitter for you, and certainly a lot more bitter for people around you, including those kids.
Including those kids. You will survive. People do come out the other end if they agree to do that work. We want to get to a point of acceptance so that we can be stronger, we can be healthier, and we can unload this baggage, including all of that anger and bargaining that we've been stuck in.